Okay friends, it's time to get started on replacing our spark plug wires. Now to have easier access to these, we're going to go ahead and remove this engine cover. To do that, come right over here to your oil fill. We're going to grab onto the entire neck and go ahead and remove it. Set that aside. Now we can grab onto the cover. We're going to lift it up and then draw it away from the vehicle. Now at this point, you have a nice clear view of all of the spark plug wires. You're going to have 3 spark plug wires that go up and over the top of the engine and then make their way down along to the back. Now those spark plug wires overall are going to be pretty hard to see, as you can tell right back here. So essentially all you would want to do is just go ahead and remove any of the mounting points. You can see them right here, and then just go ahead and do one of the wires at a time. So if this one's the cylinder 6 wire, just go ahead and follow that. That's going to lead all the way up here over to this far cylinder over there on the driver's side. And then if you had 4, it would be the middle. 2 would be right here on the passenger side. Up along the front, your front spark plug wire on the passenger side is cylinder 1. And then you have 3 in the center, and then you also have 5 all the way over on the driver's side. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just like that. So with that said, you can see all the spark plug wires. We're going to do one of the front wires here, let you know how to do it. All right, it's time to get started on replacing those wires. One of the first things we're going to do is figure out which wires we need to use. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and take them. I'll have all these brown ends, which is the spark plug side, hanging in one area. Then we can raise this up into view. And looking at it, I can see that there's 3 wires that are much longer than the other 3. Obviously, the 3 longer wires are going to go to the back side of the engine here. It only makes sense. The 3 shorter wires are the ones that are going to go to the front. So let's go ahead and start separating the short ones from the long ones. All right, at this point, I've got my 3 shortest wires. So now we can have a look at what we've got going on along here. Now, like I told you before, this front cylinder closest to the passenger side is cylinder 1. So you just want to go ahead and follow it up to where it connects onto the ignition coil. As you can tell, it's not a very far distance, so this is more than likely going to be the shortest wire. To start taking this off, we can come right up here. We're going to give this a little wiggle to break it free, and then gently pull it up and off. I always give things a quick inspection with the wire and, of course, this area. Just make sure you don't see any corrosion on there. Super important. Now we can make our way down to the spark plug wire where it connects onto the spark plug. Go ahead and grab onto that. We're going to give it a little twist, break it free, and then pull it off. Okay, we can give that a quick inspection. Now we're going to match it up to our shortest wire. Generally, you can just go ahead and take the pair, put them right next to each other, and they should be approximately the same. So now we're just going to put on a little bit of dielectric grease on each of these ends. Essentially, all this is to do is just help keep moisture and debris out of the area and, of course, make it easier to come off in the future. All right, so now let's go ahead and get our spark plug wire on there. Slide it right on. We want to get it lined up, press it in, listen for a little click, and then give it a tug to make sure it's secure. You don't want this wobbling and falling off. Now let's go ahead and connect it onto the coil. Just bring it right up here. We'll connect it on. Listen for a little click. Now typically with these wires, you're going to want to make sure that they're secure and they can't get caught up inside the fan in any way. It looks as though you can just kind of put it up and over the dipstick. Also, if you had any of these little tabs right here, you can go ahead and use those to put them on as well. Now the process is going to be the exact same thing across the front here and across the back. So I'll just finish up with the front and you can go ahead and assume the same for the rear. For these other wires, what you might notice is they go up and behind this area. Now typically for this, I just want to carefully get underneath it and you can lift it straight up. And here's where that other wire is running, right down along there. We can just rest that up there for now, pop that right off. Let's get down here, take off this spark plug wire. Give it a quick inspection like I mentioned. Come right over here, remove it from where it belongs. This is cylinder 3. Compare it to your wires, it should be the second shortest wire. Dielectric. Listen for that click. We'll give it a tug. Right up and through here. Connect it onto the coil. Let's get that last spark plug wire over here. Let's go ahead and get this into position. The one that goes over to cylinder 5, all the way over on the driver's side, comes across this top layer here. Then we have the one for cylinder 3, which is the center. Comes right through here. It's going to come out through this slot here. So I've got these 2 wires coming underneath this cylinder 4 wire. Now we can go ahead and get this into position. Once it's up high, we'll just go ahead and line it up, slide it down, lock it in. All right, so now you just want to go ahead and give each of these wires a quick inspection. Make sure it doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of slack where they might potentially get caught up in the fan along the front here. And of course, they don't look like they're going to be hitting up against that exhaust manifold. That's going to get super hot. You don't want to damage your wires. Now, these look great. The process is going to be the exact same thing for the rearward wires. I'll just go ahead and show you how to remove these clips, and that way there you know how to do that. Essentially, you just want a nice small pocket screwdriver. We're going to get right inside the groove you can see along here, and then just gently start prying. Essentially, it should want to pop free, and then you can just take each of the wires and pop it out of its location. Once you go ahead and do all the wires, you want to, of course, make sure they're back in their original positions, and then lock them down. Once you've completed all of your spark plug wires, go ahead and put that cover back on your engine. Now let's put in our fill neck. Make sure everything's nice and tight. Now at this point, you're going to want to go ahead and start up the engine. Let it run for a little bit. Make sure you don't have a misfire. Essentially, the engine's not shaking around like crazy. If it is, maybe one of your wires is loose or you switched them somehow. But if you did them one at a time, you should be okay.